And as I was saying, my name is Claudio Santos. I'm from the Porto for Aging Competence Center here in University of Porto. We are partners of the IN-4-AHA project. And the IN-4-AHA project wants to increase the uptake of innovation across active and healthy aging ecosystems and local systems throughout Europe. The webinar today is about the concept of living labs. We are going to hear from existing examples on pros, cons, challenges of these structures. And then we're going to be presenting a technology validation / living lab call for the IN-4-AHA project. And in that sense, we'll also have two partners of the project presenting here. Just to give you an idea, for presenting the living lab networks, we have Jose Maria Romero Fidalgo, the Director Health Development and Innovation Area of the Health Knowledge Agency from the also from LabSO Network and the reference site Galicia. And we also have, this is a last minute change because Irene Sanchez was not able to join us, but we have Ramuni Ilyas, I'm sorry if I'm butchering any of these names, which is the program manager for the mentoring, coaching network and user validation labs in EIT Health. So given these introductions, the second stage, I will introduce them later so you don't forget the names. But we can start. I mean, Jose Maria Fidalgo, if you want to, you already, I think, already have co-host features, so you can already present. So please go ahead. I'm still going to furiously go through the waiting room.
Thank you very much, Claudio. I'm going to share my screen and my presentation. Well, I don't know if you are now. I think like this is better. Yes, it works. Yeah, this works. Okay, so thank you, Claudio. Thank you very much for inviting us to this webinar. And well, also very thanks to Gisela, because well, I know that they are partners of this project and they also proposed us to be part of this webinar. That is very interesting for us because as Gisela very well knows, this is a very recent project that we have, this Galician network of health living labs, and it's good to try to disseminate as much as possible this project, and that in Europe this project have the interest also among other possible partners. Well, I would like first to introduce you Galicia, because I can see that there are so many people here connected from all around Europe, I think, and I don't know even if outside Europe as well. So where we are, you know, who are we and where we are? Well, we are a region on the northwest of Spain. It's Galicia. This region is, thanks to the Galician Health Cluster, is also partner of the IN-4-AHA project. And well, we are in the northwest of Spain. We are a quite big region of 2.7 million of inhabitants. But the most interesting part is that our population represents nowadays 22.5% of our population is over 65 years old. This is something very interesting because our region of Galicia represents how the Europe will be in the next decades. So it's important for us also, and for some of our projects related with aging population, to show our case, because it's something sometimes even unique in among Europe. So thanks to this, and also thanks to our work related with innovation, especially focused on aging, we are a 4-star reference site in the framework of the EIP on AHA project. And well, it's not everything are facilities. We also have one of the highest levels of aging population, but we also have a peculiarity here in Galicia, that is our widespread population. We have around 3,700 localizations that, as you can imagine, how many difficulties in communication we have. But let me, oops, sorry, the next one. let me show you how we try to face this problem of this challenge. Maybe it is better the word of challenge than problem of how to for the Galician health service and system as well, how we try to face this challenge. Well, we have a big community that represents the Galician health knowledge ecosystem. Here, the Galician Health Services, that is the public health provider, right now it's one of the health services in Spain that is leading in public of procurement of innovation. And it also has one of the most powerful electronic health record systems in Europe. This is something that it was represented in two big projects that we have on public procurement of innovation. One, it was in 2012, that it was Innova Saúde and Hospital 2050 with more than 90 millions of euros of budget for public procurement of innovation projects, mainly focused on the aging population. And then we have the continue of a project that is almost finalizing now, that it was called Código 100 in Spanish, that it was 30 million euros also to develop innovative solutions related mainly with our aging population as well. Well, in the meantime, between these two projects where I work, the Galician Health Knowledge Agency, ACIS, it was created. That is a public agency that it was created to become the chief element of the health knowledge and innovation ecosystem in Galicia. Well, we are divided in different areas. We are in charge of research, innovation, also evaluation of technologies, and we also have the training for professionals. It's a quite big agency with, especially with a lot of challenges to face. And in the middle of all these things, and of course we have between the Galician Health Service and also between ACIS, we are luckily here in Galicia to have the Galician Health Cluster. That what's the main mission of the Galician Health Cluster? Well, to boost the competitiveness of the Galician health industry. How? Contributing to its economy and social development through cooperation between all public and private institutions related to the health sector. Here, the managing director of the health cluster that you all know, Gisela, is here joining us now in this webinar, and we thank also her and the Galician Health Cluster this invitation to be part as members of the advisory board of the IN-4-AHA project. That's more or less the general overview of Galicia and also of our knowledge ecosystem. Well, now, now, especially with the topic of living labs. Well, one year and a half ago, we started to develop, and we are in the Galician Health Service, we started to be very active and very interested to this concept of living labs. Well, with one project that I told you before, that it was in Innova Saúde and Hospital 2050, we built in one of the hospitals here in Galicia, specifically in Orense. Thanks to this public procurement of innovation project, we built some sectors of this hospital that it was related with experimental health projects. Well, thanks to this project, now we are working to boost a network of health living labs that aims to turn the Galician Health Service into real environments for testing innovative solutions. Well, we already launched a public call that it was for private entities, but also for research organisms such as technology and research centers, and also universities. What we aim here is to find innovative initiatives in the health sector that can generate results in application to the society with commercial potential and that generates returns. And the only requirement was that the technology readiness levels must be 7 or higher. So it means that the prototypes should be already developed. No? Well, we launched this call. We received 9 projects, and with the aim at the beginning to focus on the living lab of this province, that is Orense, that it was where we built these new facilities thanks to this public procurement of innovation project, Innovación Hospital 2050. But the idea is to spread this living lab and to have at least one of space in each of the hospitals of Galicia. So, well, how it is divided Galicia, the Galician health system? Well, it's divided in 7 health areas with 14 hospitals and 500 primary care centers with about 36,000 of healthcare professional researchers and so on. And the idea is that this living lab that is now in Orense, that to find and to look for another facilities in the rest of the hospitals and also primary care centers of Galicia, and to have a really big network of facilities and of people and of a big community of people who can work on the testing of innovative solutions thanks to the living lab. But what we have right now in Orense, that's why when we start, well, we have accessible, efficient, and innovative and self-sustainable facilities. And we have here in Orense, thanks to this innovation procurement project, we have all the necessary medical equipment to test new healthcare technologies. To show you a little bit, a few pictures about the living lab of Orense, well, as you can see here, thanks to this innovation procurement plan, we have right now two floors with experimental rooms in different ways, double experimental rooms and also single experimental rooms. But not only this, we also have experimental nursing stations, multisensory stimulation rooms, post-operative rooms, and also here on the roof of the hospital, we built biohealth park and also a therapeutic garden. We also have some facilities for networking, for chatting, and so on with the companies. That is a curation space. And with all these facilities and so on, we opened the call that I mentioned before with 6 innovation lines. The main innovation lines and the projects that we have received were mainly for projects that they were focused on patients over 65 and chronically ill. But we also had projects related with patient empowerment, also ICT projects, also projects related with robotics and virtual reality, projects such as the impact of the environment on the hospital estates, another type, and of course, another type of projects that could be related with food, with textile, with biosecurity, with biomaterials, because we have to think it as a hospital, it's a very live environment that we also have not only the illnesses and the health problems, but it's also a place where the companies that were related with food, with biosecurity, or textile, and so on, they also have a say to say in our hospitals and in our network of primary care centers. So well, as I said, there were 9 projects received. Now all these projects are under evaluation. And then what we are going to do in the next step is to sign the agreements between the companies and also between the Galician Health Service, and to start developing these projects. This first call that we have, it was a pilot call, and the aim is that the next call will be permanent, that each company that wants to apply to the Living Lab and also to spread the Living Lab that we have now in Orense to the rest of Galicia, that will apply, we will evaluate this call, and the idea is that we will start to sign an agreement and to start working on activities that are focused on testing these initiatives and so on. And to sum up, to not be too long, because I can see that you have quite long and very interesting agenda. Well, to sum up, the idea is that this initiative is based on the quadruple helix model in which the Galician health system, industry, academia, and the society can work together in a real environment. We also have to think that the main idea of the Living Labs is that we provide real environment with real patients, with real health professionals, and so on. And this is a very added value for the companies that aims to test their projects and their innovative solutions. And what we aim to get, thanks to Lab Saúde and to the Galician Health network of Living Labs, well, to achieve a more dynamic and efficient innovation system that results in better service, but also, that is very important for us as a reference site, always focusing on the demographic characteristics of Galicia. And well, I think I tried to sum up in this slot of time the idea of the Galician Health Service and also of reference sites. And of course, we are still open for any questions or any discussions if we have later on.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that because we're totally on time at the moment, I mean, if there's anyone who already has a question they want to pose, please go ahead. If not, we can approach them a bit later on. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I mean, I don't know if anyone's trying to speak, but the microphones are off by default. That sometimes is a bit hard, but then we can pass on to the next presentation, and then in the end we can have a small little Q&A or discussion for questions that may arise until then. So I will then welcome to our virtual stage, because it is what it is with our current times, Ramoni Ilias, which okay, so yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I think you can present. Wait a minute.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we're hearing you very, very low.
Okay.
The volume is very low.
I will try.
Okay, no, it's fine.
Okay,
it's fine now.
Great.
Okay, please
So,
go ahead.
Thank you very much, Jose, for your presentation, your interesting insights as well. Thank you, Claudio, for organizing the webinar. So my name is Mohamed Ilyas Rahmouni, and I'm the program manager in EIT Health. Today, I will try to briefly describe to you our program that we had last year and how we restructure it in a new form. I will start with a quickly introduction about what is EIT Health. So EIT Health is a vibrant community of 100 plus 15 world's leading health innovators. We work across borders and we harness the brightest mind from business, researcher, education. Our goal are to strengthen healthcare system in Europe, promoting better health for citizens, and also contributing to a sustainable health economy as well. So we do that by interacting with startups through different pillars. We have three pillars: are education, accelerator, and also innovation. So through the accelerator pillar, we help startup accelerate their program through different programs. So one of those programs is the EIT Health Living Lab and Testbed program that we had last year. So as you can see, also our presence is in Europe. So we have 6 regional innovation hubs, InnoStars as well, and also we have some partners beyond Europe as well. So what is the Living Lab and Testbed program? So the Living Lab and Testbed program have started in 2018, and we support startups through giving them voucher to use with our Living Lab networks. So the Living Lab and Testbed is a real-world ecosystem where stakeholders, including healthcare professionals, patients, caregivers, and citizens, implement innovation solutions to address challenges that our European aging population and health social care systems are facing. So previously in the last year, we had around 93 level lab in total in our network. Around 26 are hospital level lab, but not all of them were active. We have 56 active level lab in the platforms. So this level lab are matched with our startups, where each year we support around 20 startups. We give them voucher to use with the level lab and test bed, level labs or test bed or hospitals within our network. So the last year, we had the first batch of 2019 was have submitted their final report, and this is some of services completed by our startup using the level lab that we had in the platform. So for instance, the first startup have expanded their portfolio of data available by connecting with the level lab. They also work with this level lab to plan, execute, and provide integration with their device. Another startup have selected have more clarity regarding the selection of function more adapted to the professional responsible for supporting elderly people, and also they adapted version of the solution that have already developed and is now available for commercialization. So as you can see, that the interaction with between startups and the level lab can create ready products for commercialization stage. So this is one of the success stories that we have. So it's called, it's one startup is Be Sure Online, where they connected with one of our label lab in France called Madopa. So Madopa have a really big network of elderly homes, and also some stakeholders, partners, and everything that the startup can connect with. So the startup have asked to support their business validation by interacting with elderly and testing their products in elderly home. So at the end, so there was some clear insights that Madopa have given to Be Sure, and as for now, they are still working together. So we had some issues as well in the level labs, managing the level lab and test bed program. And we had some lesson learned as well. And we are now taking what we learned from the past year to reshape the program and provide a better focus perspective of this program. So one of the lesson learned is the program focus. So our program was not focused in a specific area where startups can apply. So we had a broad startup coming from validation, co-creation, or designing their products. This year we want to provide a more focused approach by strengthening our user perspective. So we want startup to have a product that is ready to be tested and validated. In terms of lesson, so there's also in the program focus, the name of the level lab, and the level lab term or test bed term is pretty much confusing for startups sometimes. So each one can define the level lab in a different way. So we want to change this name as well to give it a user perspective formats as well. And in another term, we have also the lesson learned from the service provision of startups. So we want to really engage with startup and connect with them with ongoing support and also matchmaking with the startups. And so we need also to provide some services to our level lab. So we think that the level lab and test bed are an ideal position to support stakeholder, including industrial partner, insurance company, by identifying and learning the needs of end user, scouting of new technology, primarily testing, and health economic outcomes. So the last year we had several working groups and also training for level labs and also for our partners to provide some new insights on specific topics. So this is the new program of the level lab and called the user validation lab now. So as we said, so we have changed the name to a more focused perspective. So so what is the program is that bring the user perspective into the product and service development. And it is for healthcare startup that have a product/service under development and need to validate it in the future users. And how doing that by bringing startup and user validation lab together. So what is the value point for each of our stakeholder, EIT Health, Validation Lab, and startups? For our startup, it's a one-stop shop for Europe-wide user access and the opportunity to tap into international network. We also give a 4K voucher for startup to use it in the network. For the Validation Lab, they have access to international innovation, and they can also generate some businesses, new opportunities with startup and partners, and they can also learn from each other through the knowledge transfer program. So, for the startups that have for startups, they need to have a product or a development phase, and after the commercialization stage. So this is a clear cut from our other program that's called Bridgehead, which is focused more on commercialization stage, and they also, the startup need to have a look for international users feedback. So, and they also need to meet some criteria and the selection processes. So now I will be moving to other EIT health programs. So as explained, we have through our accelerator pillar, the Living Lab and Test Bed program, which is called now the User Validation Lab. And also we have supporting programs such as the Mentoring and Coaching Network that can provide mentoring also to startups through matching mentors with startups. Those mentors can also be focused on the validation phase, and can also be focused on reaching out to a network that the startup needs. We have also the Bridgehead program. That is what I stated earlier. So it's more than validation. It's include validation and also commercialization, and it's for the scaling up of a startup that want to go beyond their markets. So either in Europe or beyond Europe. And the last program is the investor network. So so startup can apply if seeking funding from 500K, and it connects health oriented investors and promising startup through a cross-border financing and co-investment. So this is an overview of our program. We have also different programs that can support startup in the validation, co-design stage, and also in the finance phase as well. So this is my last slide. Yeah. So if you have any question about the program in general or any program within EIT Health, please feel free to reach out to me. So yeah, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ramoni. I mean, now we're going into a Q&A stage. We already have one question that was actually posted in the chat, and I think this is probably for Jose Maria because it was posted right after his presentation, which is how many citizens on visit or rehabilitation do you usually have at any given point?
Tell you exactly the number of any visitations, because well, it depends exactly on each of the hospitals, and to be honest, I don't have this data. However, well, I can see that I can say that the projects that we have received, you know, involved especially well the people, the aging population, and that is, well, as I said before, is one of the highest levels of percentage in Europe. And well, the idea is not only to focus in one of the places. No, it's like to spread among the 36,000 of health professionals, to involve them on the living labs and of the Galician health networks of living labs. Sorry, because I don't have exactly this data and this to properly answer you this exactly question, but well, I think more or less the idea, I think I could answer.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, no, these things are difficult to answer with just one precise number.
Yeah, very precise. Yeah.
So does anybody else has questions regarding one of the two living lab networks, or regarding living labs in general, an opinion or a discussion point? Okay, so we're going to move on into the IN-4-AHA Living Lab call. I want to thank both Jose Maria and Ramoni Elias for your presentation here today. Because of this webinar format, I know this is always very tight presentation, but it was good for us to hear about both Living Lab networks and to hear about what the variety exists as well in these types of structures, because you presented us very different networks, very different structures. So it's very interesting for us to start mapping out this concept in our head with very different examples. Now, the next point of the agenda, we have the presentation of the IN-4-AHA Living Lab call and the discussion on that call. For that, I would introduce Kaija Villman and Villman. I don't know if I'm butchering the names, I'm very, very sorry, from XAMK. Both these colleagues are from XAMK. But also Gisela Garcia Alvarez from the from the Galician Health Cluster from CSG, and they're both going to present us this this Living Lab call for the IN-4-AHA project. Let me just check one thing. Okay, no, I think you can already present, right, Kaija?
Okay, thank you, Claudio. All right. So, hello, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to introduce our open call in this webinar. I'm Kaija Villman from Southeastern Finland University of Applied Sciences, and I now tell you what the open call is about, who can apply, and the timeline of the call. And after that, my colleague Vilja Kuuluvainen talks about our Living Lab environment, Active Life Lab, and what kind of services we have there, as Claudio already explained. We plan to be brief, around 15 minutes, and okay, I share my slides now. Let me see. All right.
Yeah, we still cannot see them, I think.
Okay.
Okay, now it's done. Okay, we're seeing them
Fine.
now. This is the thing about Zoom calls and Zoom webinars. It always takes a bit of time.
It takes always a while. Is it now full screen? No. All right. So the purpose, so we are launching this open call for innovations in April, and the purpose of the call is to boost the scale up of innovative solutions in active and healthy aging. And so we are looking for scalable digital or technology supported innovations to test according to real life needs. And the requirements are that solutions need to be offered to users already. This means that technology maturity level or readiness level must be 5 or higher. And end users of the solutions can be seniors themselves, but also those who take care or help seniors. It is necessary that seniors gain benefit from the solution in their lives in some way. That's the key point. The solutions we are looking for can be, for example, mobile health apps, smart homes, or solutions for independent living or chronic disease management or something like that. Through this call, we select 5 finalists. And what we offer them, it is that we offer opportunities to test solutions with users in 2 test sites, in Finland, here in Finland, and in Spain. And Vilja and Gisela will tell you more about sites soon. Actually, as we really heard that actually both sites are located in regions in Europe with the highest life expectancy. So we are quite a perfect site in this case. Tests which we offer, tests can be done in Living Lab environments, but also in daily lives of people. And the concrete outcome for the company is an evaluation report of the test, but we also support the finalists by arranging customized business coaching based in the needs of the finalists. So this is quite tailored process. So here you can see our evaluation criteria, which are scalability, solution itself, of course, and the team behind the solution is always essential. and then business potential. And who can apply? I would say that almost everyone can apply. All organizations who are legally registered and need to test scalability potential and gather user experience. And here's the timeline. As I mentioned, we will launch the open call next week, 1st of April, and the deadline will be in the end of April. And it is good to note that tests will be arranged between June and December this year. We are looking for the most interesting applications in active and healthy aging, and the very fruitful testing and coaching period with selected finalists. And then a few words about our background. I introduce our organization, and then Viljo introduce our Living Lab environments. So Southeastern Finland University of Applied Sciences is an institute of higher education which focuses on well-being, technology and creative industries. Our 4 campuses with 10,000 students are situated in eastern part of Finland. And for example, my home campus is in Mikkeli. We have research, development and innovation activities in 4 focus areas. We are happy to be as a partner in this IN-4-AHA project, which is linked nicely to the focus areas of sustainable well-being and digital economy, where we foster, for example, entrepreneurship, user-oriented services, and effective well-being services, of course. We have at the moment 55 international projects going on, but the total number of the project is around 200 in a year. I think we can move on to Viljo's talk about our Living Lab environment as a test site. And after that, Gisela introduces Cluster Saude de Galicia.
Okay, thank you, Kaija. So yes, my name is Viljo Kulvainen, and I'm going to tell you shortly about Active Life Lab, which is a research and development unit in XAMK. We are located in the city of Mikkeli, which is one of the campus towns of XAMK. And yeah, we've been working now for 3 years. We were, our lab was established in 2018. And Active Life Lab is focusing on the preventive well-being services. We are especially studying the effectiveness of well-being services and products, and using that data in cooperation with companies and other stakeholders to develop and co-create better well-being services. So yes, that is like our field of operation. So we are not operating in the healthcare sector, in the hospital sector, but we are more on the preventive side, and that is our specialty. Our activities are mostly research and development projects that are externally funded. Here you can see some examples of our projects that we are running right now. Those are mostly focusing on like health enhancing physical activity, exercise, sports, nutrition, for example. So all kind of preventive services. Also, Active Life Lab is acting as an education environment. Of course, as we are part of university, we have different degree programs that are using our facilities, and we are cooperating with these degree programs. And in addition, of course, we offer testing services that I'm going to tell you about shortly. Our facilities consist of our smart gym, testing lab, and our virtual reality cave. So in our facilities, we can do all kind of different health and well-being measurements. Also, for example, exercise testing. And our smart gym is used by many, for example, groups of elderly people. So we have access to the end users in that way. So we are cooperating with different health promotion organizations that are, for example, using our gym. Okay, Kaija, we can move on to the next slide.
Let me see. I don't know why it doesn't move. No.
So the next slide, that is about our testing services that we are offering in this open call. So we can offer for companies a test project that is about measuring the health and well-being effects of a certain service or product. And we use our platform that is called Hyviä. It's basically a mobile app that we can use to gather data from the end users. So basically they are filling some sort of questionnaires, for example, through our platform, and we can analyze the data using the Hyviä platform. The testing environment can be, like Kaija said, it can be in the end user's daily life or home. We can use different methods to gather data, for example, some wearable technology, for example, or questionnaires or online questionnaires, for example, to in the end user's daily life. But of course, we can use also our facilities, testing facilities at our lab. If the product or service is or it can be tested by the end users at our lab. So this is depending on the service or on the product that we are going to test. Basically, in the testing process, first we are going to define we call it impact chain. So we will discuss with the company what is the impact in terms of health and well-being that they are trying to reach with their solution. What are their goals and targets, target groups? What are the results that they are aiming with their solution? Then we are going to gather the end users and run the actual test and gather the data from the end users. So there on the slide, you can see some examples of our previous test cases, just as an example, so you can get an idea what we have done and what we possibly could do in this open call. So basically, that is what I had to say about our opportunities, and we are looking forward to doing some tests for companies.
Okay, thank you. Is it Gisela's then to introduce Cluster Saudi Galicia?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kaija, for pronouncing. We are changing our name into more international Galicia Health Cluster, so but basically it's the same. Indeed, this is I want to introduce the Galician Health Cluster as we are kind of creating an ecosystem. We are putting together our person-centered care living labs. its main objective, the main objective of the Galician Health Cluster is, of course, impacting healthcare and social care through innovation. And in the next slide, I will kind of try to summarize how, which is, Kaija, if you want to pass to the next one, to the next slide. Yeah, well, so I mean, it disappeared the part on the top, but doesn't matter. Basically, is that we try to do this impact, or to have this impact, through really becoming a collaboration platform. And as Jose Maria nicely introduced, we really are working in a public-private collaboration scheme. Yep, no, not so fast. And the main objective that we try to check if we are really impacting with this collaboration and really promoting the innovation of healthcare and social care projects is by really promoting the internationalization of this innovation. So we really make a checkup in our work if we are really doing it well, because if it's of interest in an international level, and we are also capable of attracting investment in Galicia and collaboration with companies or entities in Galicia, we are doing our job well. So in the next slide now, yes, I just want to show some numbers, as it's a nice way to see in an image with numbers, translate that effort. So I actually put 9 years active because we turned 10 this year, but we turned, to be exact, in September 11th. So we'll be 10 years old in September 11th. And we are working with 4 sectors, so healthcare, food tech, health tech, and what we call support, which is a very transversal group of organizations, which can range from investors to innovation scouting to any other activities that feed onto the other 3 sectors. We are more than 80 members, and in fact, these 3 first months of the year have been a lot of additions. So we are now more than 90 actually, and we have more than 80,000 employees, and these within our companies in the cluster. We are not including the public service, because then that will really check up the numbers, but only 80,000 would be considered in the private sector of healthcare and social care, which means we have a higher turnover of 900 million euros within their activity, and we are present in more than 100 countries. So I don't have to include so much, but I put it in another perspective in the next slide. Just the promo of Galicia being a region of opportunities in healthcare and social care sectors. Already Jose Maria showed where we are, but we like to show it like we are really there in the corner. But that geographical position also gives us a lot of connection with one of the other countries, part of this consortium, which is Portugal. We have a really permeable, at least before COVID, permeable border, and we do a lot of projects together. In fact, the language and the second language also used in Galicia, which is the Galician, is very similar to Portuguese. I'm sure Claudio will kill me and say that it's not exactly the same, but
but it's very similar. It's very similar.
We can understand each other. They understand us better than we. They're better in languages, but we have this culture that mixes together, so it really helps also working together as entities. And so in the next slide, I also summarize a bit what Jose Maria went through as well, but also from the perspective of the industry. That is what the Galician Health Cluster really focuses on. So a thing that is key when we work with other European countries is that the healthcare and social care systems are really organized by autonomous regions. So in Spain, we have 17 autonomous regions. So Galicia is one. So we are Spanish, of course, but it has the capability of self-regulating itself, also self-budget as well. So we are a population, I put roughly 2.7 million. It's a tiny bit more. And as he mentioned, we have more than 22% of the population over 65, which is the expected percentage in Europe in the next decade. We already are there, as we mentioned, and we are the highest life expectancy in Europe. We used to put the world, but unfortunately, due to COVID, these numbers have to shift, because we were advanced in elderly people to Japan. But unfortunately, there has been a strike due to COVID on these calculations now. The healthcare implies a 7.8 regional GDP, and there's an investment of more than 4 billion euros in health, which is 1/3 of the budget of Galicia. So as in processes of public procurement that I think I want to highlight what Jose Maria mentioned. It's really Galicia, from the communities of Spain, is the one that has really set up public procurement, especially in the sector of healthcare sector. It has been really pioneer on that. It has moved more than 150 million euro, but just to put you in perspective, the 40% of the public procurement processes that are done in Spain are done in Galicia. So that's almost half of the processes are really done by public procurement from Galicia. The public procurement, of course, is open to all the countries in Europe. And there are more than 5,000 foreign companies investing in Galicia in one way or another, collaborating here, so having presence here. So there is movement and richness here in some way. So the infrastructure, how does these numbers translate into infrastructure? Just to have a rough idea, we have 38 hospitals, 393 health centers, more than 250 private care homes, which is what we are dealing mainly in IN-4-AHA, more than 1,300 pharmacies, and we have 7 integrated management structures. That is what Jose Maria explained, that there are like 7 integrated areas of health where it's organized logistically speaking and procurement speaking. So there are a lot of opportunities in healthcare and social care sectors in Galicia, which I think makes us attractive. And the next one, I think. So going more into CSG and particularly the ecosystem related to this project IN-4-AHA, so the person-centered care living labs, just to give you an idea of, from the cluster, we develop a model based on clinical excellence. So we want research, development, and innovation. We are very focused on digital transformation and especially the development of technology. But again, as Kaija mentioned, in CHAMP as well, is always based on the purpose of well-being of the people, of the persons. So in Galicia, and in the Galician Health Cluster is managing for this project quite a few living labs per se, that they have their own identity and therefore their own name and logo that you can see down. But we've divided, I think one of the differential values that we have, and I think it's an added value, is that we have several types of housing testing environments. So we have international big care home groups such as Domus V, that you can see. I cannot point, so I'm trying to point, but Domus V that is present in all Galicia. We, of course, a fundación that belongs to a bank. Red Cross, Cruz Roja is Red Cross in Spanish. So we have presence in whole Galicia, of course. Then we have, of course, medium-sized residency with broad services, daycare centers, and full follow-up of the user throughout his or her different state of life, which would be like Saraiva, for example, home help in supervised flats, which would be Atendo, and then community housing as well, like OLSR. So the scalability products that we derive from each of these models is one of the key objectives of this IN-4-AHA project. So it's like really improving the adoption of technology and the scalability of this technology. That is a key point of this project and the consortium in global. So we are really based on, how very user-centric, as our colleague from EIT mentioned. I think we might change slightly the name, but I think person-centered care living lab already is user-centric, and we really based on the fact that the adoption depends on that users. And when users, we mean not only patient, but also society in general, aging society that could be completely autonomous, just seniors plus 65, or with certain disability or dependency, and then of course the formal and informal caregivers that for us is very important. So we do have a very nice distribution of the different users that we can test the technology with, in collaboration with, and very nicely spread out distribution of those living labs within the geographic region of Galicia. The arrows try to point out the main delegations, but it would be too many arrows to show exactly all the different distribution. The next slide will actually show our services of the whole pack, of the whole ecosystem. So it's managed by protocols that have been set up in agreement with all of them by Galician Health Cluster. And then we have co-creation and design of the project, of the processes, especially of the spaces where people live. Evaluation and validation, we do a control and measurement of the results, and we are very focused on person-centered care protocols and the adoption and scalability of the technology or the solution put through our living labs. One thing that I really think is a key point in the value of this living lab is the training. We really put a lot of effort in the fact that in order for an adoption, a correct use, and really a well-being of the person, there needs to be a training, there needs to be a knowledge of the new technologies, of the new solutions by the formal and informal caregivers, and even the users that are gonna be the ones benefit by that technology or solution. And then of course the dissemination, because it's important to show what is being done, show what proves to be good, but also be open about the challenges that we come upon, and things that don't work, and how things should be changed, and what users like or don't like or dislike, or if maybe sometimes what happens, there has been cases where a solution is presented for a key particular sector, but then actually it works better with another type of user, or with both, or it doesn't work with one, or it has to be corrected in a different way. So communication and dissemination is very important to really retweak and correct the processes. So I think the next slide is a thank you slide. Yes. So I think Kaija, or in the name of Kaija and the whole consortium, we would like to thank you. Kaija, I leave the honors to you.
Okay, thank you for my side. And I'm sorry about changing the slides. I had some problems with connections for a while.
No problem.
Okay.
Well,
thank you.
Thanks both of you for the presentation. We still have some time, so if there's questions from those in attendance today, either about the Living Lab, the open call, or about each of the Living Lab structures, please feel free to ask your questions. I mean, we can still have like a few more minutes into our agenda, so please, I'll leave it all open to everyone who wants to pitch in.
Silent.
People are shy. People are very shy. It's a Friday. Well,
Friday.
In that case, if there's no questions, then my only thing left to do is to actually thank everyone that was here. Both our guests are. Oh, we have one from Madalena. How did you manage data sharing between health systems and other stakeholders? So this is a question that maybe you can discuss a bit. Within the Living Lab ecosystems, okay. So, do you want to tell us something about it?
I don't know if I don't know how. Vilo, you want to start, or because you mentioned this platform, if you want to start with this, or
yes, it's a wide question, but I can try to answer. So. Yeah, our platform, our Hyvia platform it's at the moment we are not sharing data between other systems or stakeholders. That is on the roadmap for us, but at the moment it is only the data that we are gathering from our end users. But in the future, we are trying possibly building some interfaces to other systems, and yeah, that's basically.
So it's self-contained at the moment. So there's not data sharing between parts of the system.
Not at the moment.
Okay.
For us, in our case, we do share for research purposes, but always fully anonymous. So we make sure that the data that is shared is always digested somehow, and always with a purpose of answering any research or innovation question, but not like sharing, of course.
Very GDPR compliant and
have to, and of course the users are informed of the processes in the same way that they will be for this call. Of course, the processes are going through.
Okay. So I don't know if Jose Maria or Elias, if you have something to add regarding this particular question of the data and how we can basically guarantee that this data is shared safely and privately across the ecosystems or parts of the ecosystem.
From AITH side, it really depends on what data are we talking about. So if you are talking about sensitive data for startups or for patients, so we try really to have a contract between the Level Lab and startup that's under the framework, the legal framework of EIT Health, that this data will be shared according to the consensus of patient and also of the organization and everything. If we are talking more general about the data of the Level Labs or maybe the success story of how they works, we organize also some closed working group with the consensus of all the parties, and we can share this information and data. So it really depends what data are we talking about, but we try also always to take into consideration the approval of the parties that's involved with this data before we share that. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, Claudio, nothing else to add, only to say that, well, in our case, as a public administration, we have always to comply with all forms related with that data protection, as you can imagine. It's in our network of health living labs. Each of the companies that apply and finally they are selected, we have to write an agreement, and that each part must sign the agreement, and also all things related with data and data protection are always there included in this agreement. So we always try to fix and also to comply all these necessary things related with the data protection.
Okay, thanks a lot. So we're out of time. So thanks a lot for all the speakers here today, for Jose Maria, for Ramon Elias, for Kaija, Vilho, and Gisela. So thanks a lot for being here, for explaining this. These concepts, these structures, very different structures in and of themselves, but very interesting to know. Regarding the follow-up to this webinar, we're going to be sending the recording for this session, the presentations that the speakers gave here today, and we're also going to be presenting some notes. This will actually go along with information for the open call, because we're planning on sharing these follow-up materials next week. So for all of those that are interested, you can then actually access the eligibility conditions, the form, and everything that you have and that you need to join the IN-4-AHA open call. So from my end, thanks a lot for being here, and anything you need after the webinar, please do reach out to us or to any of the speakers or to any of the colleagues here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Alenka.
Bye. Bye, Gisela. It was great.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.